At first, everything looked normal. Everything looked calm. Everything looked safe. No one in the studio knew what was coming. No one in the audience felt the storm that was about to rise. Not yet. Donald Trump walked in with his famous smile. A big smile. A confident smile. The kind that said he owned the room. Ivanka sat beside him, quiet and perfect as always. She looked calm. She looked in control. She looked like she had practiced that expression 1,000 times. Across from them sat Jasmine Crockett. She did not smile. She did not clap. She simply watched. Quiet. Still. Focused. She looked like someone who knew something. Something big. Something that could break the room in half. The studio lights shined bright. Warm. Golden. Smooth. The cameras rolled. The audience clapped. Trump took it all in like he always did. He lifted his chin. He straightened his suit. He moved like a man who believed nothing could shake him. Ivanka sat straight, hands folded perfectly. Her face never changed. Not even once. But her stillness carried weight. A different weight. A quiet fear that only a few would notice. The host started the show with a friendly voice. Mr. Trump, millions are watching. You have faced many challenges. What keeps you strong? Trump leaned forward and answered quickly. My family. They are my strength. Ivanka. Baron. All of them. Loyal. Wonderful. The best family anyone could ask for. The audience clapped loudly. Trump smiled even bigger. He looked proud. He looked pleased. He tapped the desk like his words were solid truth. Ivanka kept smiling too. But the smile did not reach her eyes. Her fingers held the edge of the chair just a little tighter. A small sign. Almost hidden. But Jasmine saw it. Jasmine Crockett sat quietly. Calm. Focused. She did not clap. She did not nod. She simply watched Trump speak about honesty, family, and loyalty. The room felt warm. But something else was moving through it. A shift. A tension. A small ripple that began to spread each second Jasmine stayed silent. Trump kept talking. When you are a leader, your family shows your values. No one has a stronger family than mine. More applause. More smiles. More confidence. But Jasmine did not smile. She leaned forward just a little. Just enough for anyone paying attention to understand. She was ready. The host tried to move to the next topic. But Jasmine spoke first. Her voice was calm. Steady. Serious. Mr. Trump, she said. You talk about strength. About honesty. About family. But the truth is, that story is not as honest as it sounds. The entire room froze. Trump blinked. Ivanka stiffened. The audience fell silent. Trump leaned toward his microphone. My family is the strongest, he said. Everyone knows that. Don't start with nonsense. But Jasmine did not back down. Not even a little. That is the image you show in public, she said. The perfect father. The loyal family. The strong legacy. But what if that image is not true? What if something has been hidden? Something important. Something about your own family? The audience stirred. Uneasy whispers filled the room. Ivanka looked at her father. Then at Jasmine. Her smile cracked just a little. Trump laughed. A loud, sharp laugh. That's fake. Totally fake. You're making things up. But Jasmine stayed calm. Completely calm. I am not making anything up, she said softly. And I would never speak without proof. The public deserves honesty. Especially when a leader hides something this serious. The host froze, unsure what to do. The camera zoomed closer to Trump's face. His jaw was tight. His eyes narrowed. Then Jasmine asked the question that cut the air like a blade. Why don't you tell them who Barron's real mother is? The room exploded with gasps. Trump slammed his hand on the desk. How dare you? That is a disgusting lie. Ivanka stopped breathing for a second. Her hands tightened. Her body stayed perfectly still, like she had been hit with a shock no one could see. The audience whispered louder. Some covered their mouths. But Jasmine stayed calm. Unshaken. It's not a lie, she said. It's not rumor. It's fact. And I have documents to prove it. Trump laughed again, but now the laugh sounded weak. Forced. Scared. She's crazy, he yelled. Nobody believes this. But the room did not agree. Everyone was staring at Jasmine now. Every pair of eyes followed her every move. She slowly reached under the table and lifted a manila folder. The sound of the folder sliding across the desk was louder than any applause. Inside that folder was something Trump did not want anyone to see. Jasmine placed it gently in front of her. These are legal documents, she said. Hospital records. DNA tests. Signed papers. She paused. Ivanka Trump is Barron's biological mother. Gasps filled the room again. Trump jumped to his feet, pointing at her. Shut her mic off. Now. But the mic stayed on. The cameras kept rolling. The world was watching. Ivanka turned pale. Her lips parted just slightly. Her hands trembled. But she did not speak. She could not speak. Jasmine lifted another page from the folder. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, she said. And tonight, I brought it. The host looked terrified. The audience looked stunned. Even Trump looked shaken. The room no longer belonged to him. It belonged to Jasmine Crockett. The audience leaned in. The tension grew. Something bigger was coming. Something no one was ready for. Something bigger was coming. Something no one was ready for. And that moment, that exact breath of silence, is where everything began to break. The studio was frozen. No one clapped. No one moved. Even the lights seemed to burn heavier, as if they were waiting for someone to speak, someone to breathe, someone to stop the tension from growing thicker in the room. Trump's face shifted from anger to confusion, then back to anger. His chest rose and fell quickly. He looked around the room like the walls themselves had betrayed him. Ivanka sat perfectly still. Her eyes were locked on the documents in Jasmine's hand. Her lips moved, like she wanted to deny it, but the words did not come. The host swallowed hard. His fingers trembled as he reached for his note cards, but he could not read a single word on them. He knew the show had changed. He knew nothing would go back to normal after this. Jasmine closed the folder slowly. Her hands were calm, steady, almost peaceful. But her eyes were sharp. She looked at Trump the way a prosecutor looks at a witness who has been cornered by truth. Mr. Trump, she said softly, this is only the beginning. The audience gasped again. Some leaned back, stunned. Others leaned forward, afraid to miss a single word. Trump slammed his hand on the desk again. This is a setup, he shouted. No one believes this garbage. This is an attack on my family, on me, on my legacy. But his voice cracked. His anger sounded thinner, weaker, almost desperate. Jasmine didn't raise her voice. She didn't match his anger. She simply said, "You want the truth. The public wants the truth. And the truth is here." Ivanka finally moved. Very slowly. She lifted her hand off the chair and placed it on the table, as if she needed something solid to hold on to. Her fingers trembled. Her breathing changed. Her shoulders stiffened. She spoke quietly, barely above a whisper. "Jasmine, stop." But Jasmine didn't stop. She opened the folder again. She pulled out another sheet of paper. The camera zoomed in on it. The host tried to speak but his voice failed him. Jasmine held the paper up to the camera. "This," she said, "is the first hospital report." Trump tried to shout again, but his voice cracked. "Fake. All fake." But Jasmine continued. "The dates line up with a private hospital visit. An unlisted admission. A birth under a sealed identity. The documents were signed by medical staff. They were stored for years. Hidden. Buried." The audience whispered loudly now. The noise was like soft thunder moving across the room. Trump stood again, red-faced and shaking. "You're a liar. You're trying to tear my family apart." Jasmine's tone didn't change. "No. I'm showing the family you already tore apart when you hid the truth." Ivanka squeezed her eyes shut. Her chin trembled. Her breath became shallow. She looked like she wanted to disappear. For the first time, Donald Trump turned to look at his daughter. "Say something," he demanded. "Tell them it's a lie." Ivanka opened her eyes. Tears formed at the edges, but she blinked them away quickly. She looked at Jasmine. She looked at the folder. Then she whispered, "Dad, please." The audience gasped again. Trump's face froze. His eyes widened. He whispered back, "Ivanka, what did you do?" But Jasmine wasn't finished. She reached for another paper, another document, another piece of the puzzle. "This," she said, "is a DNA confirmation. Independent. Verified. Signed by 3 specialists. It links Baron to Ivanka." The host pressed his hand to his mouth. The room erupted with whispers, gasps, murmurs. Trump yelled again, "Turn the cameras off." But the cameras stayed on. The red light stayed glowing. The world stayed watching. Jasmine continued speaking as if nothing could shake her. "You built a family image. You built a legacy. You built a brand. But it was built on secrets." Trump pointed at her again. "You don't know anything. You weren't there. You have no right." Jasmine cut him off. "And you have no right to lie to millions of Americans who trusted your words." This time, the audience clapped. Not loud. Not long. But enough to change the air in the room. Ivanka breathed in sharply. Her shoulders shook. She wasn't crying yet, but she was close. Trump glared at her again. "Ivanka, fix this. Say something." The room felt cold now. Heavy. Sharp. And Ivanka finally spoke. But her voice was small. Quiet. Breaking. "Dad, she has the papers. You know she does." Trump stared at her like he didn't recognize her. His mouth fell open slightly, his eyes wide. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no, no." Jasmine placed the papers down carefully. Then she looked at Ivanka. "Ivanka, you can speak if you want. You can explain. But hiding won't help anymore." Ivanka's hands covered her face. Her shoulders shook. She didn't cry loudly, she cried silently, the kind of cry that comes from deep inside. The audience fell silent again, watching her. Trump stood still, breathing hard. His face was red, then pale, then red again. He whispered, "Ivanka, how could you?" But Jasmine kept going. "This isn't about shame," she said. "This isn't about scandal. This is about honesty." Trump turned to her and yelled, "You just want to destroy me." Jasmine looked at him with calm eyes. "No," she said softly. You destroyed yourself the moment you hid the truth. The host tried to break in. Maybe we should. But Jasmine raised her hands slightly. There's more. The audience reacted again, louder this time. Trump shook his head violently. No more. No more. Ivanka whispered. Dad, stop. But he didn't stop. He reached across the table, trying to grab the folder. The security on set stepped forward quickly. The audience gasped again as Trump's hand missed the folder and slammed onto the table instead. Jasmine didn't flinch. She opened another document. This, she said, is the signed legal agreement. The one that sealed the records. The one meant to keep this secret forever. The host's jaw dropped. Ivanka covered her face again. Trump raged. That agreement is private. You had no right to get that. Jasmine held the paper up for the camera. It became public when evidence surfaced showing misuse of secrecy laws. The room exploded with noise. Whispers. Gasps. Shocked voices. Trump froze. The host whispered. Oh my God. Jasmine looked at the camera. America deserves leaders who live the truth, not hide behind it. The audience, older, American, watching with wide eyes, leaned in more. They could feel something big was coming. Something enormous. Something that would push Part 3 into a place no one expected. Because Jasmine hadn't revealed everything yet. She had only revealed the first layer. Now she reached for the thickest document in the folder. The one sealed with red tape. The one she had not touched until now. The room held its breath. Jasmine placed her hand on it. Trump whispered. No, please, not that one. Ivanka lowered her hands slowly. Her eyes were red. Her breathing shaky. She knew exactly which document that was. The audience could feel it. The cameras zoomed in. The host swallowed hard. And Jasmine Crockett said. This is the document that explains everything. She began peeling back the red tape. The room went dead silent. No breathing. No whispers. Nothing. Just the sound of the tape slowly tearing. The truth was seconds away. The truth that could break everything. And that moment was only the beginning. The room stayed frozen. No one moved. No one even breathed. Every camera stayed locked on Jasmine's hands as she slowly peeled the red tape from the document. The sound of the tape tearing felt louder than Trump's shouting. Louder than the gasps. Louder than anything else in the room. Trump shook his head, almost pleading. Ivanka, stop her. Do something. Ivanka did not move. She sat still, hands shaking gently in her lap. She looked smaller now. Tired. Exposed. Jasmine placed the red tape document flat on the table. Mr. Trump, she said softly, this is the agreement that explains everything. Not just the birth. Not just the secrecy. But the reason behind it. The audience leaned forward slowly, almost in unison. Jasmine opened the first page. The host whispered, "Oh my God," without meaning to. Jasmine continued. This is a signed financial and legal agreement. It outlines the arrangement made to hide the truth. It shows the payments. The sealed statements. The relocation orders. The medical protections. And the non-disclosure signatures. Trump's face went blank. Completely blank. He stopped shouting. He stopped moving. Even anger could not cover the fear rising in his eyes. Ivanka pressed her lips together, holding back another wave of tears. Jasmine lifted the papers. This agreement shows who approved the secrecy. Who funded it. And why the truth had to be buried. She placed one page in front of the camera. The signature at the bottom was clear. Large. Familiar. Donald J. Trump. The audience gasped again, louder than ever. Trump's hands dropped to his sides. He looked around like he had nowhere left to stand. Ivanka lowered her head. Her shoulders shook again. Jasmine continued speaking slowly, clearly, each word sharp and simple. The truth was never the danger. The lie was. And the lie grew until it became bigger than either of you could handle. The host finally spoke, voice soft and shaking. "Mr. Trump, is this signature real?" Trump did not answer. He stared at the table. At the floor. Anywhere except the documents. Jasmine closed the red-taped file. "This is why truth matters," she said. "This is why accountability matters. Families break when lies become walls. People suffer when secrets become shields." She turned to Ivanka. "You were a mother hiding from the world. You lived behind silence. And silence is heavy." Ivanka wiped one tear. "Just one." She whispered. "I didn't want this. Any of it." Jasmine nodded slowly. "Then let the truth breathe. Let it live. Let it move forward." The room was silent again. But it was a different silence now. A softer one. A quiet after a storm. Trump finally looked up. But he said nothing. For the first time that night, Donald Trump had no words. Jasmine folded the documents and placed them back in the folder. The host swallowed hard and turned toward the camera. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, you witnessed something historic." The audience stayed frozen, processing everything they had seen. Jasmine leaned into her microphone one last time. "Truth is simple. Even when people try to hide it, it always finds a way out." She stood slowly. Ivanka remained seated. Trump stayed silent. Jasmine walked off the stage with the folder in her hand, the cameras following her the whole way. The weight of the moment hung in the air. Nothing would be the same after tonight. Not for Trump. Not for Ivanka. Not for anyone watching. The truth was out. And the world had just seen it happen live. Thank you for staying with this story till the very end. What happened on that stage will stay in people's minds for a long time. Moments like this remind us how powerful truth can be, even when it comes slowly, even when it comes quietly. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button. It helps more people find these stories. And if you want more powerful moments, more intense twists, and more eye-opening drama, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a new episode. Tell us in the comments what you think about tonight's reveal. We read everything. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more stories that keep you on the edge of your seat.